With travel to so many places just off the table this summer because of COVID-19, this has turned out to be a fantastic summer to get to know Nova Scotia better. And on your road trips, you may find yourself wondering about some of the place names around this province. Some clearly look like they are Mi'kmaq. Others, you may be surprised to find have roots in Mi'kmaq, or you might be surprised to hear the meaning behind them. Bernie Francis is on the line to walk us through a few. He is a linguist and a Mi'kmaq elder. Bernie, Gwe Nidap.
Gwe Geenum.
How are you, my friend?
Oh, not too bad. Well,
So can we start with one? I was down. My wife and I took a drive down the South Shore and across sort of the southwestern part of the province last week, and I was looking at the signs for Kquid, and I was trying to think of how you would have me pronounce that, and I was thinking Gejim.
That's very close.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, very close, yeah. People now say Kejimikujik, which is, it's not an easy one, but certainly they did a great job in taking a crack at it. But it actually comes from Gejimhujik. And
Gejimhujik.
That's the plural with the K at the end, Gejimhujik.
Okay.
But Gejimhujik is at the place where the fairies abound. So we have our own leprechauns here as well. Everybody knows the story about the Irish leprechauns and how mischievous they are. Uh-huh. We have a similar culture here whereby we have all kinds of stories, all kinds of legends to do with leprechauns. And so there's one word that New Brunswick and Mi'kmaq both use, and it's Wiggladamuchk. But Keji is specifically the place of the little fairies. So if you were to ask me, well, what's the difference between the two, I wouldn't know what to tell you. All I know is that they're equally as mischievous as the Gejimkujik are equally as mischievous as the Wiggladamuchk or the leprechauns.
Okay, and it'd be interesting, Bernie, because we've spoken about other places. I think up Halibu Agani, the place of the
Agadi, yeah.
So that's the place of the caribou calves or the baby caribou. But when it comes to this, like, what do you think the story would be, or the origin story of the place of the fairies, the little fairies?
All I know about that area is, well, first of all, I used to have a conversation with a man. He was the chief of they called it the Wildcat Reserve. His name was Charlie Labrador. He was a good friend, good guy to talk to. And he was quite puzzled by that word, too, the Kejimikujik word. He wasn't a speaker of Mi'kmaq. But anyway, he started telling me a few stories just, about the way that they would constantly interact with the Mi'kmaq people and how the Mi'kmaq people would be tricked by these little fairies, And it always reminded me of the Peter Pan type Disney World type characters,
Yeah.
So the stories that came out of that were usually stories had to do with tricks that they played on the Mi'kmaq people, and there's quite a few of them. In fact, sometimes we thought about the possibility of interviewing some of the elders who might still remember some of those stories and making children's stories out of them,
Oh, wow.
But it never did happen. It's quite a bit of work to actually go around that part of Nova Scotia to interview the elders, especially the ones that many of them have lost the language, so it would be difficult to do it in English.
Right. And now, do you know anything about, or anything in particular, I guess, about the Petroglyphs down in Kquid? Is anything about that kind of mythology recorded in those petroglyphs, or are those simply road maps?
I saw the petroglyphs in Kquid, and it seems as though that they were the Mi'kmaq people that did the work are basically depicting what was new to them particularly. And you will see sailboats, for example, something that they've never seen before. So this is what they were doing, basically telling the story about what was going on at the time. And they're very easy to see. You can easily go there at any time. And I think they're protected now because some people were attempting to scratched them off, or I saw a little bit of damage there. But they're still in existence for people to see.
Okay, so that's down in the southwestern part of the province. But now let's go up to the eastern shore, okay? And a name that I know my colleague Alex Mason was curious to hear about. I have my own thoughts on where it might come from, but Alex thought we should ask you, Ecum Secum.
Yeah, that when I first, I think Alec had the feeling that it could be Mi'kmaq, but so did I. But after a certain amount of searching, I couldn't equate it with anything at all in Mi'kmaq. So we did come up with a name that Alec sent to me, and it was Megwezahanek, or it actually means the place of the red hue. I'm not really sure what that means or what they were referring to there, but certainly that's what it is. It has to do, the Megweg has to do with red, and Megwezahanek, the whole thing has more to do with a certain hue that was visible to them at the time.
Is there a name in Mi'kmaq for that place?
Well, that's it, Megwezahanek.
And could you get to Ecum Secum by some sort of horrible mangling of that?
No, I don't think so. It should be a lot closer than that. We have all kinds of words that the English attempted, and still you could easily see that they originated from the Mi'kmaq language, because they have all kinds of sound similarities, you know. But Ecum Secum, that doesn't seem to fit anywhere at all. It could be Gaelic for all I know, you know.
Honestly, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it has like a kind of an Irish or like Celtic Gaelic kind of Gaelic, I guess.
Right. Well, you have, the arrival in Pictou was around 1774, I believe it was. So there's been a long presence of the Gaelic-speaking peoples in this area, you know. And I'm sure they moved around as well. So it doesn't surprise me at all that, you're going to find some words that originate from the Gaelic language. Okay,
well, let's go down to now sort of the South Shore, between St. Margaret's Bay and Chester, the Aspatagan. That's the peninsula down there, right? Between St. Margaret's Bay and Chester?
Yes, exactly.
Is that Mi'kmaq?
That's definitely Mi'kmaq, although that is more heavily corrupted than others. But it has to do with a blocking of some kind. I believe our people would block a certain area to ensure that the seals didn't outsmart them. And then, of course, seals were a source of food. And once they set a nice trap for them, they used them for food, of course, you know.
Yeah.
But the Aspatagan that is pronounced now is something a little bit, or quite a bit actually, different from that. And it means kind of something like at the place of the block, or the place of the blockage.
And what is the proper Mi'kmaq?
I can't seem to think of it at the moment unless I see the spelling.
Capage.
Oh, Gepjohadahan. Something like Gepjohadahan. When you Gepjohad doing something, it means you're closing it off.
Can you say that one a little more slowly, Bernie?
Gepjohadahan.
Gepjohadahan.
Gepjohadahan, exactly.
Gepjohadahan.
Yeah.
I think that sounds horrible when I say that.
Yeah. Well, it kind of reminds us of the word Quebec. Quebec is definitely an Algonquin word as well. And it comes from the word Gebeg in the Mi'kmaq language, which means the place of the narrows.
We spoke about this last time because we were talking about the Mi'kmaq name for the Cornwallis River there down in the valley off the Minas Basin. I can't recall it now, but it was the narrow place or something.
Who did you say?
Yeah. Yes, I don't know. Yes, there's another name that it goes by now.
Yeah, we won't talk about Cornwallis today.
No. Fair enough. But I do remember Quebec, like that meaning. So what is the narrow place again?
It's, at the Narrows. Yeah. Now, we use the same word for, like, for example, if you have what do they say in English when you have, like, a bit of laryngitis? You say...
You're hoarse?
Horse throat. Is that
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they use? Something like that, HOARSC, something or other. It's the same word that the Mi'kmaq people use. When you have a problem with your throat or you're having a hoarse throat, they would say gebazit. And it's the same, the first part, geb, means narrowing.
Yeah,
So
okay.
what you're really saying in Mi'kmaq is that my throat is narrowing.
Oh,
That's for having a hoarse throat or laryngitis or something or other.
Bernie, there's a place that I want to ask you about because I went to CEC. I graduated from CEC up in Truro, and so Kquid. Is that a Mi'kmaq place name?
Well, that's definitely a Mi'kmaq derivation, but I wouldn't call it a word. It's what I would call, I suppose, an incomplete word. It is a part of the word Wegobegit. Wegobegit.
Okay.
Yeah, so that Gobegit is the latter part that they used on your highway signs and so on. And as I say, it's not a word in itself, but if you put way in front of it, then you have the Fundy area, or where it's incredibly swift.
Okay.
Or something about the water being incredible. I suppose
would it be like the tides, referring to the tides? Okay.
Right, exactly.
And so way means what?
Way go big. The way part talks about the extremeness of something.
Okay.
So when you say way go big, it's like an extreme flow.
Now, what about Musquodoboit?
Musquodoboit is, I really love this one because I love the way that I heard it in French, Acadian French probably, where people pronounced it Musque de Bois.
Musque de Bois, oh, it's very...
It was hilarious to the Mi'kmaq people when it was heard. But that mus part in U.S., that has to do with protrusion or something that's protruding. So it seems to mean that a place where, first of all, the pronunciation would be Musque de Boguec. In other words, it flows into something else. It could be another body of water, it could be a lake, it could be another river,
Okay.
So that's what that means, actually.
Now, with a name like that, it flows into something else. Would that have been a specific place name, or would that have been something that could have referred to any place where a river flowed into a sea or into a lake?
It could. It very well could, yes. But if that posed a problem for the Mi'kmaq people, and of course they would be a little bit more specific. They might say something like, well, where in Musque de Boguec? And then, of course, they'd give you the more exact location. But, yes, that could happen, much like we have the word, we have all kinds of places where we have the word Tracky.
Yes.
That's definitely a Mi'kmaq word, and it means encampment. And, of course, they encamped everywhere, so naturally...
Lots of Trackies.
Yeah, lots of Trackies. You'll find them in Newfoundland as well as in New Brunswick.
PEI as well,
and
I've seen
Prince
them.
Edward Island.
Yeah. I want to wrap up, Bernie, with something that I mentioned in a promo yesterday, and it's something that I am dying to know because Alex just told me that there is a place name in Nova Scotia that in Mi'kmaq means your dog is burning or your dog is on fire. So what is that place, and where did that name come from?
Well, first of all, it's somewhere past Digby, I believe, this place. And when I was looking for that, here's what I saw, Hectanooga. So it was spelled Hecta, and the next word I think was Nooga, Hectanooga. And when I first saw it, I thought it was a place from Tennessee somewhere. Much like
it's like a Chattanooga, Hectanooga.
Yeah, but it wasn't that at all. It was actually, it took 3 days of digging around and rummaging through all kinds of papers. And Trudy Sable from St. Mary's University gave me a document that had a story about that place. And it was a guy that was staying there for a while, and he was not doing so well in the hunting department, and he was getting quite hungry. So our people one time used to have these dogs in the villages that were not like modern day pets. They were kind of wild dogs, but they hung around the community because, they'd get fed from time to time, And in this particular case, what happens is that if hunting is not so good, guess who's dinner?
Ooh.
It's the dog.
Yep.
So, as I say, they're wild. Don't anyone get excited because it's not, you'd never kill your own little pet, for food. But anyway, this is what happened here. And he had it skinned and he built a spit, you know what I mean? And he was cooking it above an open fire. And when he heard a commotion by the lake, so when he looked around, he could see that 3 of his friends had arrived by canoe. So he'd been away for 2 or 3 weeks at the time, and he ran to greet his friends. He was so excited, and he embraced one of them. And while he was embracing this one of his friends, the other guy could see behind him, and he could see that the dog that he was cooking had caught fire because the dog would sort of release a lot of this oils.
Oil, sure, yeah.
Yeah, so it caught fire. And the man got very excited. He pointed sort of behind his friend here, and he said to him, Hectanooga.
Hectanooga.
It means your dog is burning. So from Hectanooga comes Hectanooga.
Well, do you know that something very similar has happened to me numerous times with the barbecue? Not with a dog, but say a chicken breast or something. Now, I don't know, Bernie. That story seems a little too good to be true. But as we often say on the CBC, sometimes our stories are too good to fact check. Or never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Figure that out had it not been for the story that Dr. Sable passed on to me. So anyway,
all right, Bernie.
That's the way it goes. We can figure out 15 or 20 names in one day. Other days it takes me 3 or 4 days just to get one. Because some of them are so terribly written, and other people, the way other people heard a certain word was quite a bit different from what it really was. So it's not always easy to figure them out.
Well, Bernie, I appreciate that you have figured them out and that you share them with us. I love these conversations, my friend.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. And I just hope that if people have other questions, they may just, text you or whatever to, would be able to help.
Please do give us a call. That's a good point, Bernie. If anyone has a question for Bernie, 1-888-686-6246. 1-888-686-MAIN, and or you can email us mainhfx@cbc.ca, and we will get your question to Bernie. Bernie, welalin.
Okay, well, yachinam.
Numultis. Okay. Ciao, my friend.
Ciao. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, you as well. Bernie Francis is, of course, a linguist, a Mi'kmaq elder, and a fine friend to Mainstreet.
This is CBC Public Broadcasting.